Good evening, everybody. David Paul with you here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. It is Thursday night. It is 8 o'clock, so it is time for the Atlantic Tropical Update. We do this every night at 8 o'clock during the busy part of hurricane season. And we're getting busy in the Atlantic. That's something we'll be focusing on here this evening. So far, we have now had 8 named storms, so we are halfway to 16. That's the forecast from Colorado State University. Hurricanes, they're forecasting 8. We've had 2, but Umberto, who's out there now, is very quickly on the way to becoming a hurricane. So for the moment, we'll leave that number at 2, but we're almost to 3. Now, what's interesting is Umberto, forecast to become a hurricane, it is forecast to become a major hurricane. That would be Cat 3 or above. If it goes to Cat 3, that will be the 3rd major hurricane we've had this season. That would mean every storm that managed to get to hurricane intensity was able to get to major hurricane intensity. If it didn't become a hurricane, they've all stayed as little piddly, tiny little tropical storms. So it has been a season of extremes. If it's a tropical storm, it stays weak and piddly and only lasts a day or two. If it strengthens to a hurricane, the 2 that have happened have gone to major hurricanes, Cat 4 and Cat 5. Umberto forecast to go to Cat 3. So for the moment, the reality is we've had 2 majors, but I think we're going to have our 3rd major to get to that part of the forecast from CSU as we head over the weekend. Here again are the names: Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Fernand. Were all little weak tropical storms that came and went very quickly within a day or 2. They didn't last long, and they were tiny. The ones that got to hurricane status went major. Aaron, Cat 5, Gabrielle, Cat 4, and now Umberto is still a tropical storm, but again, forecast to become a hurricane. I don't see any reason why it won't, and forecast to become a Cat 3. So that'd make it for a very interesting hurricane season. So far, we haven't had much in the way of landfalling storms. That may be changing for the continental U.S. next week. The forecast for the spot that has a 90% chance for development has changed. I'll show it to you. It's a low confidence, high dynamic forecast, but I'll show it to you. Everybody on the East Coast is paying very close attention to this tonight. Sea surface temperatures are all plenty warm. Again, anything above 80 checks the box for potential tropical development. I do want to focus a little bit more on sea surface temps here. So the spot that has an 80% chance for development is sitting right in here right now. It's going to be meandering northwest through the Bahamas, maybe just east of the Bahamas. So it's going over some very warm water. So the warm water is certainly there. And then this is where Umberto is developing right now in sea surface temperatures that are mid 80s. And here's a look at the tropical outlook. So Gabrielle, the one that went Cat 4, zipped that way, and now Gabrielle is just a day from bringing wind and rain to Spain and Portugal. That'll happen on Saturday, Friday night, Saturday. Here's Umberto moving northwest, still a tropical storm. And then this is the area, 90% chance for, I think I was saying 80, 90% chance that develops as it drifts north just through or east of the Bahamas. And now the Carolinas are paying very close attention to this because there have been some significant model changes with what may become Imelda. That's the I name storm, Imelda. And let me show it to you. And as I show you this outlook, I want you to remember this. When you've got 2 storms that are developing not too far away from each other, that can give our models headaches. So I think what I'm going to show you with this forecast for this spot that may become Imelda, I think it's a very low confidence forecast. It's gone through some huge changes the last 24 hours because the models are struggling with to try to get a mathematical result with their algorithms when you got 2 systems that are developing at the same time, and we're changing seasons. We've got fronts coming in, mid-latitude troughs. It's incredibly complicated out there right now. So take these forecast outlooks with a grain of salt. Now, I think this is a solid forecast from the Hurricane Center. Umberto moves west and then turns northwest, becomes a Cat 3 Sunday morning into Monday afternoon, then weakens back to Cat 2. This one looks likely to shoot the gap between Bermuda and the East Coast and most likely stay off the East Coast. That's the modeling that's been very consistent. That's why I'm saying that, because the modeling runs have been very consistent with Umberto. It is potential Imelda That is the big question mark. So as we look at future track, and this is the GFS, it's the American model. The European model has a similar solution, but you'll see how complicated this is. So here's Umberto. We're going to move him in this direction as I put this in motion. But this is the other thing about this latest modeling solution. It slows down Umberto and speeds up potentially what would be Imelda. Not Imelda yet, and moves it toward the Carolina coast. So you're going to see this head toward the Carolina coast. You're going to see Umberto slow down and kind of tuck in behind the system. Yeah, that is odd. It's very different from what we had yesterday. And the last several days, the modeling has put Umberto up in here, a very weak system trying to form here that doesn't go into the east coast of the U.S. It eventually gets pulled along in the wake of Umberto, but that's not what's happening on the last couple of runs from the GFS. So the 12Z, 12Z and 18Z this morning, the morning run and now the evening run, are giving us this very different solution. And I'm telling you, it's because you've got two dynamic systems that are very complicated, trying to develop near each other. And the modeling is going to struggle with this. So take this forecast with a big grain of salt. And really what it means is if you're anywhere on the East Coast, Virginia coast, Carolina coast, Georgia coast, Florida coast, we're at a moment in this where you just kind of have to take it one moment at a time. Watch the weather several times a day. The forecast is very uncertain. And it could be that we get a strong system impacting somewhere on the coast between Florida and the Virginias. And even if it's a weak system, the weaker systems can bring tons of rain into the mountains. So it's just one of those things where we don't know everything about the atmosphere. Modeling is an imperfect science. We got two storms trying to develop near each other. We're changing seasons. It's complicated, and the forecast confidence is low. Here's what we have for the moment. Now that's Monday. I'm going to take you out another day or two, and again, the further out in time, and especially these model runs, we'll just take it with a grain of salt. But by Wednesday, the storm has gone in Tuesday, and look at the rain. So that would be a significant flash flooding threat. North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, mountains of Kentucky and Tennessee, northern Georgia, if that solution were to verify, which again, I'm telling you, is a low confidence forecast. We're just going to have to take this moment to moment. We're just not sure how this is going to play out. It still has Umberto being a powerful hurricane and making that curve and then eventually racing away from the East Coast. So that is where things stand here on this Thursday evening. Check the weather if you're on the East Coast at least twice a day during the weekend for updates. Stay close to your local forecasters, Charleston, up to Charlotte and Wilmington, and just stay really close to your local forecast offices and then into the mountains as well, as that could potentially produce a significant flood threat if this were to verify, which again is a low confidence forecast. It just happens this way sometimes. Closer to home, Houston, beautiful weather, dry as a bone, low humidities come in. We get a lovely cool morning, 65. We go to a low humidity, 88 Friday, and just get used to cool mornings and evenings, warm afternoons with low humidity. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, humidity begins to creep back up Wednesday, Thursday. It's not until next Thursday we get a low temp back up to 70. That is where we stand. Very, very interesting and very challenging in the tropics tonight. We'll keep you updated, and we will have our next live broadcast on KH.